I'm going to preach about the gospel reading today, and when I think about this gospel reading, I remember one of the kids' songs that I used to teach. Haven't sung it for a long time. I got a river of life flowing out of me, makes the lame to walk and the blind to see, opens prison's door, sets the captives free. I got a river of life flowing out of me. Remember that one? Yeah, all right, good. All right. That's a very powerful song. And Jesus said that as he began his ministry, he began to preach in all their synagogues. And today, he went back to Nazareth, to his home synagogue, and he began to speak and to teach the people. And he was handed the scroll from Isaiah. This was a big thing in the Jewish church. And he read from that scroll. And this is what he read. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And then he said the words, "Today these scriptures have been fulfilled in your hearing." That's why Jesus came. Jesus came to set the people free. He came to give them a message that would free their hearts from the tyranny that they had been held in bondage with. It's interesting, though, I don't want to give it away so that you want to come back next Sunday. But you know what the next part of the story is, right? After he said these good things, then the people started talking. Isn't he Jesus? Isn't he Mary and Joseph's son? Well, he's no better than you or I. And they took him out and were ready to throw him off the edge of a cliff and to kill him because they didn't like the message that he spoke. They thought it was a very audacious message to say that these words are now coming to fruit. That's the reason I have come, is to set you free. There's always been this dichotomy in the Christian church. I think most faiths around the world have this issue and this problem. Are Christians really free? Are we happier than the general public? A lot of studies say no, Christians are not. And the more fundamentalist the Christian is, the more burdens they carry in their heart. Guilt and shame and oppression. That was the old message. That was the old covenant that God had made with his people. Back in Jeremiah, back in thousands of years ago, God said, "I will be your God and you will be my people as long as these are the things that you do." And there were hundreds of things that the people had to do. And they didn't measure up. The people were always in and out of a relationship with God. And then in Jeremiah chapter 31 came the promise, "I will give you a new covenant, and it will no longer be based on your behavior. It will no longer be based on your ability to keep and uphold the law. It will now be based on the forgiveness of your sin." This is the challenge of the Christian church. There are many people my age, many people that you grew up, that the message that you heard on Sunday was not as gracious as the message you might hear today. Right? You would all agree with that. Right? There was more hell and the devil preached when I was a young kid than there ever is today. And thank God for that. But when you preach enough about hell and the devil, okay, you're trying to preach about a loving and forgiving, compassionate God, a God of unconditional love. And then you have this other message, that God has created this very special place for those who don't quite measure up. It's a place of eternal damnation, where it is so hot you will not be able to stand it for 1 second, much less for an eternity. We have messages in the Bible that talk about the punishment of God. and about people who are divorced and how divorce will separate them from the love of God. And on the list go if you are not baptized, if you do not believe exactly right. In 1 Corinthians it said, if you take Holy Communion unworthily, if you take it unworthily, you take it to your eternal damnation. I can go on, but it's a pretty depressing message, isn't it? Right? And that's the message many of us heard when we were children. Hellfire and brimstone, the damnation, and how strict God's rules and regulations were. So we have this dichotomy. We have all these words in the same Bible. How do we get through? How do we understand? My understanding is that the gospel always trumps the law. It is God's message of love that we have to be, it has to be our foundation. It has to be the core of our faith. If the core of your faith is your actions, and you're trying to win God's favor, and you're trying to earn your way up to heaven, you will always come up short. You will always live a life of fear, always approaching the day of your death with fear and trepidation. Christians should separate themselves from other people. We shouldn't have as much fear in our hearts and our lives that other people do. We should not carry as much shame and guilt as other people do. Jesus came to give us this message. I have come to set free the oppressed. My message is to set us free. It is a message of love and forgiveness. This is what I hold on to. This is what we live by. This is what we preach. Amen.